I have to pack yet.
What have you been doing all day?
Playing God of War.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, I guess I'll allow it, but like, also, you should pack.
Let's save it for follow-up, because this is actually a topic, and maybe just 2 minutes, just a non-spoiler 2-minute update on God of War. But yeah, I've been playing God of War. Anyway, we had a real actual pre-show topic.
We did, yes. I sent you a couple of things from the website suno.com, suno.com, including a link to a song that we will put in the show notes to a great like meta song / commentary on social media and Discord and everything else.
My first comment on suno.com being AI generating music, right? Is that
yeah?
Does that kind of wrap it up?
Yep.
You give it a prompt of genre and like style, and you can supply it lyrics, or you can have it generate its own lyrics. I do a lot of like when I was messing around with it, I did a lot of instrumental only stuff. But in any case, it generates music based on prompts. Mm-hmm. My first comment on it, though, did you notice that when you were creating an account, you could create an account with your Discord account?
I did see that. Yes,
I don't know that I've ever seen that before.
I have used it once. I think it was on a gaming site. It was on what was it? It might have been Stream Deck. No, Stream Deck lets you log in with Twitch. Something else lets you log in with Discord, and I do not remember what it is. But it's not the very first time I've seen that.
Okay, I think it's the first time I've seen that, so that was surprising to me. Other than that, though, it was cool. I don't know. I'm not really. My biggest problem with AI music is that I don't know the right words to supply it in order to get out what I want, because I don't even know how to describe the music I like. If I were handed songs I like, I'd be like, I don't know how to describe that. I like that. Yeah, that's good, but I don't know what words to describe that music as.
Well, what is it? What does Spotify give you when it makes you those weird playlists? Does it give you like random adjectives that you could type into the box like this?
Oh, you're right. I could. Those day lists. Yes, day lists on Spotify. Yeah. No, if I found a good one, that's a good idea. I should copy some of those.
I mean, I'm not a Spotify person, so I don't have a day list to copy from, but I would imagine, like from what I've seen from other people, like it's very oddly specific, the kinds of things that it comes up with.
Yeah, the oddly specific, though, I think would be really helpful in this case.
Correct. Yeah. When it's like melancholic Tuesday morning sunrise, and you're like, what?
Yeah, exactly. I was surprised. I thought it was really, I mean, the stuff that it put out, particularly the one you linked, and that'll be in the show notes, called Why Didn't Anyone Like My Song?
Yes.
It's like a rock song. So like the jams are like the jam of a rock song is really easy, at least in my mind. Like it's very predictable. Is that a good way to say it? Or
formulaic is another way to say it.
Yeah, formulaic, yeah. Which is fine. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be, but I really liked it. Like, it was really good. Like, I was getting into it. My biggest commentary on all of this: music, cool, great. Lyric, like lyric generation, fine. Like, large language models exist, and like putting it into an actual like rhyming structure or like song structure, really cool, very good, nice job. My biggest thing with all of this is the voices, the actual like speaking or like singing voices of saying the words, surprisingly good, like very good, very, very good. And like you could understand them, and it wasn't jumbled and it wasn't mumbled. It was like clear and it was on pitch. And I thought that was the most impressive part to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was something like, I guess you would call it, this song that, again, we'll link it in the show notes. It's very similar to like I would think of it like a Paramore or something like that. That kind of band, and like a female lead vocal rock kind of person. And yeah, it was totally legible, very good. You didn't have to kind of read the lyrics to follow along. It was surprisingly good and almost concerningly so. Like it just was like, wow, this came out of like a computer, really?
Yeah. My wrapping this around into video games. Are you ready for this, Chris? There's been a lot of I don't know, tech demos, I guess, is all that I've seen so far, or people covering tech demos of, and, politics of this aside and, people's jobs and all of that aside. It is the one application I see this very fitting really well into video games is like like throwaway dialogue. Like I think of it as a lot as like, you know, NPCs, and like think of like Grand Theft Auto and you're walking around on the street, right?
Yeah.
And like NPCs are just saying stuff, right? Like right now they have to record literally thousands of lines. But all of it is like pre-recorded, and all of it is based on like they have to whatever. But like, can you imagine like, oh, Grand Theft Auto again, you're carrying a rocket launcher and you start shooting up something because it's Grand Theft Auto and you can do whatever you want. Like, can you imagine generating lines and people like sounding shocked and actually talking about what you're doing? Like generated on the spot, then with voices that are actually like, you know, appropriate, with tones of voice that are appropriate. Like
Somebody
that
says,
would be cool.
Oh my gosh, he has a rocket launcher. Like that would even be somewhat groundbreaking, because they never do that in games.
Yeah, exactly.
My thing about this, especially for music, is that I like to think that I would try to write music at some point, like write songs and things. I'm not very good at it, but like it's something I would want to do aspirationally. And I think a tool like this would get me over the hill of the like blank sheet of paper problem of like, I know what kind of genre I want. I know what kind of thing I want. Maybe, you know, I don't know exactly what the chord progressions I'm going for are. Or I don't exactly know what the melody might sound like, but like this thing could give you 5 ideas and you could kind of go from there, especially if you already had lyrics or like a topic. You could put something together. And then I think there are some things, if you listen closely or critically to something like this, there are pieces where it overflows what you would think of as the normal meter, or it doesn't quite get the rhyme just right, or it doesn't like leave enough pause between, you know, phrases or something. It just kind of goes on to the next thing. Like there are little things if you want to get picky. And so I think of it as getting you like 80% of the way there, and then giving it to you. Like if it could spit out like sheet music, like if it could give you the music for the thing it was making as it was making it, which I'm sure it can't, because that's not how it really works. But if it could, then you could take that and say, okay, now let me edit this and make it good, like finish it basically. And yeah, there's a bunch of ethical questions about like what data set is it trained on, and like, is it ethical? You know, what does it do to people's jobs and all of that stuff, which I don't think we want to get into here. But as a tool, like if I think of it just as straight up a tool, I think it's really, really cool that it exists.
Well, I agree. I think that's how I feel about AI across all applications, right? For software engineering, it's a tool. It's something to get you, like you said, 80% of the way there. For email writing, just straight up email writing, how about that? It's a tool to get you 80% of the way there. For document drafting, honestly, I did it the other day, creating PowerPoints, getting you 80% of the way. Like it does a lot of the 80% of the way there stuff that saves you time to get started. And it kind of gives you that nudge to get started on something, to say, oh, even, and this is what happened with PowerPoint is I told it to create I told Microsoft's Copilot, which again, different application, but same idea. I told Microsoft Copilot to create a PowerPoint based on a document that I wrote in Word. And it created something, and I was like, no, this is all wrong. But that was enough inspiration to know what I wanted to do.
Right. It almost informs you as much not to do as what to do.
I firmly believe it is always easier to work from something than from nothing. I think the true creatives in the world, which I am not by any stretch of the imagination, like the true people that are creative in the world are people that can start from nothing and create a genuinely original idea. I'm not one of those people. I've never claimed to be one of those people. I'm very, very good though. And I think you are too. And I think a lot of people are. A lot of engineering types are very good at taking something and building upon it. Or adapting it, or changing it, or stripping things out of it and putting what they think needs to be in it. I'm very good at that. And that's, I think AI is very helpful for someone like me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There is a lot of controversy around the video game aspect of it right now. Like there's a lot of people that are concerned about games using AI to generate their assets or their background stuff or their lore or their whatever. And I don't know where it's all going to land, but I don't think it's going to land in the never use AI camp. I think it's going to be somehow everybody's going to have to come to some kind of agreement on all this stuff, because, you know, it would be like saying, no, you're not allowed to use word processors. You must use typewriters to put any words onto pages. And like, that would be crazy to us now. Like, I think we're approaching the point where this technology is going to become something that everybody kind of has to, get used to, I guess, because I don't think the arc of technology is not going the other direction.
No, I think you're right. There is a world in which this becomes a mainstay tool. Doing it right, how do we do it? How do we do it ethically? How do we do it legally? All of those things I think are still very much up in the air, but I do think we'll land on the side where AI and AI tools become part of almost every professional's life.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting over the next, decade or two. So we get to ride that wave, I guess. Welcome back to Pride and Accomplishment. My name is Chris.
And I'm Jason. This is episode 125.
Jason, some really quick follow-up before we get into the episode. We don't actually have much in the way, at least I don't think we have much in the way of World of Warcraft topics today, but I did want to make a note and mention that since Season 4 will have started by the time this episode comes out, I did just get AOTC on the Friday night before the season switch over, so I am an ahead-of-the-curve raider now.
Yeah, ahead of the curve, I guess.
I am barely ahead of that curve.
Barely ahead of that curve. But congratulations. I know you were trying actually really hard. You were not trying to keep it to the last second. And it was not because of your gear. Let's be very clear about that.
Oh, no. And mostly not because of skill, mostly.
No, I watched a lot of your last attempts. Unfortunately, I didn't see you actually get it. I had went to bed. But glad you got AOTC. And I did not, but have we told the viewers that I resubbed to
I don't
WoW?
know that we mentioned that. Yeah. Oh, we haven't talked about your experience with Plunderstorm either, actually.
I don't know that I want to talk about it.
Okay.
I didn't enjoy it, and I don't think there's much more to it than that.
That's fine. I will say as a follow-up to that I did grind it last weekend to get to level 40. So...
No way, really?
Yep. So I have Plunder Lord as a title.
Wow, that's almost more of an achievement than AOTC.
It just depends on your perspective. But yeah, I made a spreadsheet and everything, and I tracked what my efficiency was in terms of renown per minute, essentially. Turns out the answer was about 100-ish, which means it took a really long time to get 40 levels of 2,500 rep each. Don't do the math. It's depressing.
100 a minute? Is that what it was?
Yes.
So how many hours?
A lot. 5 or 6.
Oh, that's not that bad.
I mean, it wasn't
you had
days,
me worried.
but it was like an entire Saturday.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's not terrible. That's reasonable. An entire Saturday for a spinoff feature. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is, they actually, I think this week or next week, one or the other, they're doubling the rep gain, or the renown gain, to make it easier to get it. So I should have just waited, but I wasn't sure if it was going to go away with Season 4. And then, somebody sent me a thing that said, hey, this is going to double next reset. And I was like, oh man, I've already done it all.
That is my worst nightmare.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed it by the end of it. I actually was actually sort of having fun.
Did you win any game?
No, but I got down to 2 or 3.
Okay. All right. That's good.
On my spreadsheet, I could look. I kept track of my rank too when I finished. I could go back and look, but I think my highest was somewhere in single digits.
That's my problem with World of Warcraft Season 3 right now. Is we played a couple, and I actually had some fun playing a couple Mythic Plus dungeons. But I just know 2 things: one, how fast the gear grind is going to go next season, when Season 4 comes out, and how fast I'm going to be able to get my gear up, because I'm still in the 460 range, and 460 becomes super baseline in Season 4.
True.
So anything is going to be an upgrade in Season 4, whereas right now I still have to try a little bit. So I'm having a little trouble finding the motivation to play in Season 3 when Season 4 is 1 week away. Is that right?
No, it will. It comes out this coming Tuesday, so it will be out.
Oh, that's right. It's around the corner. Yeah. So I don't have to wait anymore. But
by this coming Tuesday, I mean this past Tuesday, as you listen to this.
Yeah. So no more waiting for me. But I was having a little bit of trouble finding motivation. My second reason is I want to start playing an alt of some sort. I've said this on the show so many times, and I have a couple alts that are like level 70, but I haven't really truly started playing any of them. I know that based on what I'm seeing, that leveling alts after season 4 comes out in the Mist and Pandaria remix, and then even more in the War Within, the expansion, that the alt experience will be so much better. So like that was my other thing, is like, oh well, if I don't want to grind my main, like do I want to do anything on my alt? And the answer is no. Like I should wait. So like everything was kind of compelling me to wait. I'm very excited to start season 4.
Cool. Me too.
I mentioned this in the pre-show. I am 6 or 7 hours into God of War Ragnarok, which I'm finding is actually a reasonable amount. Like, I don't know how long the whole game is, but I think it's only actually, I'm going to look it up right now. Real-time follow-up. Yeah. God of War Ragnarok main story, if you beeline the main story, is 26 and a half hours. So
you're like a quarter?
I wouldn't say I'm beelining the main story. I would say I am doing the main story unless a side quest is thrown in your face. So if you've played, like, no, not really any spoilers here, but if you played it, you'll know what I mean. When you go to the first new world, you know, obviously, you're kind of thrown into an area and they say, oh, it'd be really nice if you could go take care of these 3, I'll just say the word, it won't mean anything to anyone that hasn't played, but if you could go take care of these 3 drills for us. And it's like so in your face, like the cinematic opens up and it's like, you could go that way to do the main, like literally there's a cinematic where a boy says to you, you could go that way to do the main story quest, or you could go that way to do the side quest. And I was like, throw it in my face a little more. Why don't you? So that is the case where I did a side quest and I kind of like went off the main story quest path. But other than that, I'm trying to stick to pretty much main story quest, because I think it's more important for me to just get this game done. And that's really sad, because I wanted to do something along the lines of like going to fight all the Valkyries and like doing all of that stuff. But like at this point, I'm 2.5 years late or whatever. I should just finish the game. I should check it off. I really want to know what the story is. I really want to figure out what's going on. I really want to be like in the know on what the heck this game is all about. And I think finishing it will be more pride and accomplishment. Like there's going to be 90% of the pride and accomplishment is just finishing this game rather than like going into all of the nooks and crannies it has to offer. So I'm just trying to get done with it.
I think that's fair. And I really think that there is a shift that goes on, and it's a little bit depending on what the game is and depending on whatever, but there's like a little bit of a shift where you have to be realistic with yourself of like, what am I really going to do with this game? And you don't want to burn out on the side quests. Like you can always go pick those side quests up later if you find yourself at the end of the game being like, man, I wish there was more of this game. You'd be like, wait, there is more of this game. There's a bunch of side quests. So, and you can still go do all the Valkyries. The Valkyries was an endgame thing anyway. So like, it's not like you're closing the door to all of those things now. I actually don't know if there's anything that is truly like progression locked, you know what I mean, like that you can miss, missables I guess they'd call them. I don't think there's that much, if anything, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. And I think that getting through the story, or at least getting, you know, invested enough in the story that you can come back to it if you did go off and do a couple side quests, is important. To not say I'm going to check every box on the map, because that's my problem sometimes with games that are open world, and God of War is not. But games that are more of kind of the Ubisoft, you know, open world Assassin's Creed kind of feel, we've talked about this before, I get too wrapped up in the, oh, I'm here in this one area that I probably will never come back to, so I better do all the little checkboxes on the map. And like, that's a dangerous trap too, because you can burn out on a game before you even get to see it.
Yeah, no, I have felt that in an Ubisoft game before. I just know myself enough to know that even if I wanted to do more in God of War Ragnarok, once the game is over, it's a put it away and probably never play it again kind of thing for me. I know myself enough to know that. So like deciding not to do a side quest or deciding not to go after something means that I will literally never do it. And I'm like, I have to be okay with that, because I will never get the game done otherwise. But I know myself. Even the Valhalla like add-on, like down, it's, I don't know, it's DLC, right? It's free DLC, we'll call it.
It's free post-game DLC. Yeah.
Yeah, free end game, post game DLC. I even that, like, maybe I'll play once or twice, but I'm not going to get into it as, like, if I'm going to play a roguelike, I'm going to go play a different roguelike. So like even that, like once the game is finished, I'm pretty sure I'm done. Like I know I'm done. Even though I've heard that there's some story along with the Valhalla roguelike, so I may try it just enough to see what the story is. But yeah, no, I will say, just as a really early game review of God of War Ragnarok, first hour, really interesting, super interesting. Hours 2 to 3, I almost put the game down.
Wow.
And I think I know why I put the game down last time is because those 2 hours are kind of slow. Mm-hmm. You don't have a whole lot of attacks. You don't have a whole lot of stuff. You don't have any runics in your axe. Like, it's just not a good game between hour 2 and 3. And then hour 4, 5, 6, it really picks up again. So I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm itching to get back to it now, which is a good sign.
I don't know if it works, but I know that you're doing a little bit of travel soon, and I don't know if you can do streaming over the internet. I think you can. There's an app you can get for the Steam Deck that actually lets you stream PlayStation stuff. So if you're really, really craving it, that could be an option.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm craving it that much. I have decided that God of War Ragnarok is going to be a weekend game for me, and I'm going to try to play it 3 to 4 hours every weekend. And I think like 3 to 4 hours every weekend, I'll get it done in 2 months. And I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. That's probably about the pace that I did it too. And of course, at some point, that last weekend will turn into an 8-hour weekend because the story will pick up and you'll want to get to the end. But
does it do like a Sanderson drop? I mean, it's just like you can't put it down. You're playing until 4 a.m. This is your life now.
Maybe not quite that bad, but like you definitely, it's one of those things where you sense that you're close to the end, and like I think you keep going a little further and keep going a little further, and then you're like, well, surely now I'm close to the end, and then finally the game does actually end. So that game, man, okay. You were explaining to me, I had forgotten how good it was because it has been a while. But you were explaining to me some of the places you were, and then it was reminding me of some of the things that are yet to come, and that game is great. So I am very much looking forward to talking to you about it once you are a little further along.
Okay, well, not to spoil anyone else, but maybe after we're done recording, I will give you some updates on where I am.
Cool. Speaking of games that came out a long time ago that we are playing now, I have been playing just a little bit of Dota 2 lately.
You're back on this train, huh?
Just a little bit.
Is it that time of the year?
Well, the funny thing is, it's kind of that time of the year for like the rest of the year, I think, because just this past week they came out with their big rumored, content update. It's not really an expansion, but like it's a thing, game mode, whatever, metagame, I guess, called Crownfall, which is actually a huge like lore dump in the Dota universe, which there's actually a lot of lore in Dota. And they talk about all that and that's all cool. But also similar to previous things they've done with the battle passes and the compendium and the international and all of that, they've put together a little node-based map where you have to play certain heroes in certain games of Dota in order to get through the map, and the map gives you cosmetics and gives you rewards and stuff. Again, all cosmetic because that's how Dota's items are. But it gives you something to do kind of outside the game, right? It's a little metagame outside of your Dota like matches. So I really like that stuff. I've always liked that stuff. So yes, I am interested and am a little bit hooked.
Is it deeper or more involved than the compendiums usually are, where there's always kind of some kind of meta game going on?
It is a little deeper in that there is like, it's almost like an RPG. It's like a little like node based thing where every time that you unlock another node on the map, you go there and then there's like a little, it's not a cutscene, right? It's a cutscene from a Super Nintendo, right? Where you have text between a couple characters reading it back and forth, but there's no voice acting. And so it's like a little bit more involved, a little bit more in depth, but the mechanic for getting around the map is really cool. Typically they would do a map that has, think of discrete math class, think of, whatever class that is with nodes and edges.
So
like the edges are typically a hero, so you have to play a game as a certain hero or a certain kind of hero. Now the edges are these tokens which you can get by playing games as certain heroes, and each hero can have 3 different tokens that you get for winning games with them. So like maybe I don't remember exactly what all of them are, but like maybe one is like nuker and one is, you know, carry and one is stunner or something. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, but or flying maybe. So like you could have those traits on a particular hero, and if you play as that hero, you get those 3 tokens if you win the game. I think if you lose the game, if it's a non-turbo, like a normal game, I believe you get 1 of those tokens. If you're playing a turbo game and you win, you get 2 of the 3 tokens. So there is still a little bit of a disadvantage to playing turbo, I guess, but I really much prefer the rule set for turbo, so that's what I play. But anyway, you get those tokens, and then you can use those tokens, which you can get by playing tons of different kinds of heroes. So it doesn't lock you into, oh, I'm no good at this one hero, so I can never get this edge on the graph.
Right.
So that's the difference, and I think it really is pretty cool. And the other thing is, they have said that this is the first act of 4 acts, and that they're going to last like several weeks or months, and that then they won't close off the access to the previous act when the next one comes out either. So progression wise,
I love when they do that.
There's not super FOMO, which is great for somebody like me who doesn't have infinite time to play grindy games of Dota, but likes to play Dota.
No, I love when they do that. And you know, I think basically every game that's ever existed has learned this lesson, where like time gated stuff that matters is better to be left open for a long, like forever or a very, very long period of time. So a lot of games now, not to bring Helldivers into this, but Helldivers is like this too now, where you can buy and progress on the battle pass forever. Like they're not battle passes, they're, I forget what they're called. War bonds. They're called war bonds. And once you have it, you never lose it, and you can always progress on it. So I don't know if Dota 2 is quite that far, but at least keeping it open for a longer period of time as the story moves on is very nice. Chris, I'm gonna push this conversation along a little bit because I see in the show notes that there is a fishing mini game.
Yeah, so on that overworld, there is actually a fishing minigame that you can play in the Dota client, but outside of a regular game of Dota. So it's like your typical, like a Stardew Valley kind of fishing game, where, you know, it's like press and hold this button to keep the little meter in the spot, you know, to catch the fish or whatever. From everything I've seen, I haven't played it yet, but it's one of the nodes that you unlock on the little path as you play. The other neat thing about this is that
is there any point to it?
I think you get some tokens. I think you get those tokens to be able to unlock more stuff.
So can I progress the entire thing by just fishing?
I don't think so, because you also have to play a bunch of games of Dota to get to the fishing part.
No, but once I'm there, can I just infinitely fish until I'm done with the whole thing?
I doubt it, but I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I really doubt it.
Okay.
Yeah, I will let you know when I get there. But the nice thing is, if you wanted to do it, you don't have to spend any money to get there, because the main line of this little overworld map thing that they have is totally free. So you can pay to unlock a couple of little essentially side quests, like with a couple more nodes and a couple of other cosmetics or whatever, but you don't have to spend any money on this at all.
If you do, is it like standard battle passy kind of stuff where it's $10 or...
I think it's 15.
Okay.
And you get a couple of things, and you get, you know, a couple of stuff immediately, and then you also get the right to unlock these things, basically.
Yeah, cool.
So I don't know. I'll probably end up there eventually.
So how far are you into it?
I am 3 nodes into it or something. I don't know. I've won like one game, and it got me through 1 or 2 kind of hops on the board, if you will.
And the main path, you said the main path is free. How many nodes is that?
I don't know, probably 20, 25.
Okay. All right. So a couple weeks or months worth of stuff there.
It depends on how good you are at Dota and how many games you play per day. So for me, yes, it'll probably take months.
Well, theoretically, you should be winning half of your games.
True. That's how a good matchmaking system should work. I saw an article this week that didn't really surprise me, but it made me slightly sad, saying that Target is no longer going to stock physical DVDs at any of their stores, like just as a matter of practice, which is fine. And I kind of, I guess if I thought about it, thought they may have already done this, but like now this reminds me that like nobody sells physical DVDs anymore. And I wanted to kind of I thought that might be something interesting to talk about, because I know we've talked previously about game, physical versus digital. And like I got the physical PS5 and you got the digital PS5, and like how that's going, and maybe a little check-in on physical media and how the world is definitely shifting to digital.
When's the last time you bought a physical media anything? DVD, game, anything?
Let me think. Probably a while ago. Yeah, it's been maybe a year. Well, yeah, probably about a year.
I recently purchased something that is physical video game, but will still only have digital.
Yeah, exactly.
I bought the War Within Collector's Edition, which is just going to give me a code to download the game. I cannot tell you. I want to say, this is a guess. I want to say that the last physical media thing that I purchased was probably a game cartridge for my Switch in 2017, maybe.
Holy cow.
2018.
Okay.
And that would have been Super Mario Odyssey, maybe.
Okay.
Because back then, my thought was, oh, well, if it's a single player game, I can always give it to someone else when I'm done with it.
Right.
That was my thought on that. But since then, I mean, I haven't really played my Switch much. And no, you're right. Digital PS5, my computer. I mean, when's the last time your computer had a CD-ROM on it, disk drive on it?
That's been a decade, probably.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised by this at all. I certainly don't buy DVDs, but I don't buy physical games. I don't buy DVDs. I don't buy any of that. And the thing is, here's where it really gets to. And this is, I think this is probably the nail in the coffin. Oftentimes, Chris, you and I are at the forefront of technology.
Yes. Cutting edge. We are.
Cutting edge.
Ahead of the curve, you might say.
Barely ahead of the curve. However, if you were to ask my parents the same question, when's the last time you bought a physical media anything? They'd have the same answer.
Mm-hmm.
Prior, 2018 maybe. And that's where I think the true like Target doesn't sell DVDs anymore, because it's not just our generation, it's not Gen Z, it's not, it's basically everyone. Like no one is using, not no one, the number of people using physical media anymore is so low, particularly gamers. So I see this really applying to gaming. And obviously there's a lot of benefits for Microsoft and Sony to be, not have a used game market and all that. But like even in DVDs, I'm not surprised by this at all. I'm not sad either. Are you sad about it?
I'm like only a little sad, but I'm not like super sad. Like the thing is, I kind of like the idea of if I like a movie or whatever enough, or if my kids like a movie or whatever enough, which I don't have kids, but like that kind of thing, I can buy the DVD and have the DVD and know that I can always stick it in the DVD player and it will play this movie. There's no like, oh, it was on, Netflix, but now they lost the rights and so now it's on, Peacock, so you got to get the Peacock subscription. Like I like the idea of I could buy Frozen on DVD or whatever, which I mean, Disney Plus is its own thing, but it's a bad example, but like whatever, I could buy Minions on DVD and I could play that forever. Shrek, right? And whenever I or someone in my family wants to watch it, like there's a guaranteed way to do that. And I know you can buy the digital copy of it, but there's always a little bit of risk in that, depending on which storefront you're using and all of that.
Well, you're not buying it, you're leasing it.
Exactly. But if I have the DVD, at least I feel more like I own it. And I'm pretty sure that all the bits for the movie are actually on that disc. So
yeah. In that case, you own it. You own it. I mean, yeah, you own it. But if you like buy it on iTunes or whatever, you're not buying it.
Exactly. You're getting a license for it, and somebody can always revoke that. And it makes me a little bit sad that is becoming less of a thing. I mean, and it's been that way for games forever, right? You've needed a day one patch for anything anyway, for everything in the PS5 era. So, you know, if the PS5 server shut down, then you're kind of out of luck, which is really, really unfortunate from a game preservation standpoint. But I don't know. It was surprising to me. And Best Buy actually did this like last year. Best Buy already stopped stocking DVDs anyway. So it just was an interesting commentary on how the world is changing.
I think there's two different conversations here, maybe three. The first is like actually owning the media, and that doesn't make me sad. I don't really care about that too much. I think there's an element of wanting to own or present or have on your shelf something that you like really enjoy. I think like having the original StarCraft 2 like thing on my shelf, right? That was really cool, right? Because I bought StarCraft 2.
The box. Yeah.
Yeah, you had the box, and I used to keep all of my PC game boxes. I used to do that. Like, and I don't anymore, and I've kind of shifted to something else that presents what I love and what I play. And I don't know if we'll talk about it today or in some future episode, but like I've shifted to not, like, people don't sell the CD boxes anymore. Like, that doesn't happen. So you have to go to something else. And I've kind of shifted to those like statues or collectibles or whatever it is. Like that's where I've shifted. And I actually like that a lot more because I feel like it's a lot more personal. But then there's this final kind of topic in all of this, and I think you brought it up, is in game preservation. And I don't know how I feel about that. I think that games are important to preserve, I think. But I don't know that I put as much weight on them as a lot of people do. And I think video games and playing video games are an important thing to introduce to people, like young. Like it's not a like small microcosm thing. It's mainstay industry. Like it's part of the entertainment now. So I think it's important to introduce, like, I don't have kids, but if I were to have kids, like, letting them play video games is important to me. Like, you learn a lot of things. You learn, like, it's something that you learn now, right? It's something that you go through now. And I think it's important for that development. Anyway, I don't know that it's important to, if I were to ever have kids, for them to play the games that I played, or for them to play old retro games. So I'm kind of on the fence on this, like how important video game preservation is. But you're right that digital games only, or physical games that require a day one patch, it is getting much harder to preserve them.
Yeah, I think of them. What if it was like every decade or every 20 years, maybe, we just take all the movies that were made and just like throw them away, right? I mean, that's the idea of the game preservation thing. It's like you can't go back and experience those things at all. Like, and maybe that's just me being sentimental, but I think there are some games, certainly there's a lot of games that aren't worth that and don't deserve it. But like we talked last episode about Roller Coaster Tycoon, right? Like, thank goodness, I mean, maybe thank goodness, you can play it on an iPad now. But like, what if you couldn't? And like, it was something where you just, I mean, that one didn't have DRM on it, but if it had a patch such that you really couldn't run it or whatever, and nobody had cracked it or something, so more so with the console side of things, it would just be really sad to have completely lost that kind of like touchstone of gaming and of culture forever, except for in pictures and maybe some Twitch streams.
I don't know that I feel as strongly. And here's why. Like, we're constantly losing media. You're like, and people's entire jobs is around finding and preserving old stuff, and we've lost like so much more media than we've preserved, right? Just thinking back in like terms of like generations.
Okay.
I think that video games are still moving at a pace such that 20-year ago video games, I don't think it's that impactful. Like, is it bad that we lost Roller Coaster or would it have been bad or sad that we lost Roller Coaster Tycoon, the original game? Yeah, maybe, I guess. but I don't know that that's going to like, I don't think that that's bad for humanity. How's that?
I mean, okay, fine. Like, if we're talking like Mona Lisa level here, maybe I'm being a little dramatic, but like, I don't know. That whole tycoon genre, right, is based on that one game. And like, if it went away, it would be kind of sad, especially because Roller Coaster Tycoon now is like a kind of shell of itself. Like, it's not very good lately.
Sure, but like there are entire genres of music where we've lost, you know, like where they came from, or like the sheet music, or like how it was originally performed, or how like, and we're talking much older stuff there, right? But we've lost that too, and we're still okay with where we are, and we know that it was built upon something, but we're not quite sure what it was built upon, but we're still able to progress forward. We still know that it was founded in somewhere. We still have some semblance of what it was founded upon, and it's okay. Like that's where I'm at with it. Like, again, I think we should put effort towards it. And I can't remember. There are foundations out there. I was trying to think of the name. There are foundations out there that are all about like preserving video game, history and the ability to play them. And I think those are good things to do. But I don't think that I don't think I feel as strongly about it. I don't feel as strongly, to be fair, I don't feel as strongly about it on movies either. Like, I don't feel that. I think the only thing I actually feel strongly about is books, and I don't know why I feel that way.
That's really an interesting line to draw. Like, what is books anyway? Okay, interesting. Because, like, you know, if like nobody could ever watch Back to the Future ever again, like that would be sad. Just thinking of a movie that's like kind of old but not that old.
It'd be sad, but I think it's okay. I think we would go on, and I don't think we would lose anything, and I don't think people would lose their moral compass, and I don't think any of that would happen.
Fine. You're right. Yes, the world would not end, but Back to the Future is a good movie. Well, mostly.
It's a pretty good movie. I think this is actually a really good. I think we have some friends in the video game industry, and I think there are a lot of opinions in this area. And if someone maybe wants to educate me on why I should feel more strongly about this, I'd be willing to listen. I think this is one of those areas that I maybe don't feel educated enough to have a strong opinion. But this is like a common topic. Like Chris and I talking about this is just another kind of voice in this large conversation, because a lot of people are talking about this right now. So I would love to hear what other people have to think. This is a genuine, like, tell me what you think, because I think we have some people with very good and informed opinions on this. So if you'd like to get in contact with us, you can either do that by the ways that you already know how, or you can join our Discord by going to discord.pnapodcast.com.
If you want to find our show notes or our older episodes, reminder that this week's show notes have the Why Didn't Anyone Like My Song AI song in them. You should definitely go check those out at our website, which is pnapodcast.com. That's P, the letter N, the letter A, podcast.com.
If you're enjoying the show, we would love if you could share it with some others that might enjoy it as well.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.
Okay, so I hinted at it during the show, but I want to talk about it because I recently got a brand new thing for this, for my shelf. Behind me, so no one goes into the office anymore. So you used to decorate your office with like trinkets, and you put stuff on your desk, and you're like, oh, there's a picture of my family, and oh, there's like this thing I care about, and like people would say, oh, that's really cool on your desk, and they'd sit across from you, or you'd sit in your office, whatever. You used to decorate your office, right? And sometimes if you had a really big office, you'd have a bookshelf and you put some stuff on it. Like you used to put your college checkbooks, which was actually really cool because you'd actually use them, but it was still a conversation topic. Whatever. No one does it anymore. So I
mean, okay,
have decided. I know you go to the office, but I don't. A lot of people don't.
A lot of people do.
And even when you go to the office, I don't feel like it's as much of a, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel like it's as much of a cultural thing to like decorate your, like to have it be your space. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It seems like a lot more people are in transient desk situations or hotel desking, or
they're not
going in at all.
That's probably true.
Right?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. in general, I think we've gone that direction. Any case, I don't go into the office anymore. I do have an office that I can go into, but I don't. So instead, what I've done is you're always on the video screen. You're always camera. You're always, in a Teams or a Zoom or whatever. So behind me, I've set up like shelves that have way more than I would have put on my desk, but I have a lot more space. So I filled it with like all of my stuff about me, right? Like, so it's got my diploma up there, obviously, like my college education. It's got some Ohio State stuff because, I went to Ohio State, so that's kind of cool. But then I've also got some video game stuff up there, and I've got some like books or books that I'm reading up there. I've got some like workbooks that I really like actual nonfiction books that I really like that relate to my work. And it's all behind me. That's like, that would show up on my, like in my camera when I'm on screen. This relates because I put video game like statues behind me. I have 3 really prominent ones, all of them Guild Wars related. And I've got the original Guild Wars 2 Collector's Edition Ritlock statue. I've got the End of Dragons Oreen statue. And then I recently, just today, as we're recording, got the Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure Patha statue. And they're all kind of sitting behind me in view of my camera. And this is what I was talking about. Like, I don't care to have the boxes anymore of Guild Wars 2. But I think like showing these as my hobby, like talking about them, like having them be conversation pieces, like that's what I care about now.
Yeah, I get that. I actually started doing that when we were working from home kind of during the pandemic. I started off with putting a couple big bookshelves behind me in my, Zoom background or whatever. And now I only use it one day a week. But I certainly do have more stuff decorated at home than I do at work. But I don't have nearly the collection that you have of collector's editions-y things. But I have a couple things. Like I got a replica of one of the Dota 2 international little trophies that you got for getting like level 1000 in the battle pass, which I never actually did myself because it's way expensive to do that. But over the years, I got way more than 1,000 levels, so I feel justified.
That's the way to think about it.
I spent enough money to have gotten it if I had done it all in 1 year, so we'll count that.
Did you buy it on eBay or something?
Yeah, I got it on eBay. I think it was a recreation.
Yeah, because I didn't buy the Guild Wars 2 Collector's Edition originally when it came out. I got it on eBay like, I don't know, 8 years later.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I have all of my college textbooks, to your point. They're not in my office at work, they're in my office at home, and I do still use them occasionally. And then, yeah, I've got art and stuff that I like and all that kind of thing. So I've actually got the boxes of all of my video game consoles. I've got a PS3, a PS4, and PS5 box and a Switch box up on top of my bookshelf. So when I'm standing at my desk, like when it's in standing mode, my camera shows those boxes on it, which is kind of cool. So yeah, this is definitely a new thing.
I like showing the things that I actually care about and play. Like, I only buy or present things that mean something to me. Like, I played all of the story in Secrets of the Obscure. I did basically everything there is to do for Secrets of the Obscure in Guild Wars 2. Like, that's important to me. So I'm going to present and show that statue, right? Whereas I have some stuff related to Halo. I played a Halo a little bit when I was like younger on my Xbox. I never finished the Halo series. Not important to me. Not on that shelf, right? Like, it's in some box somewhere. I don't know where. Mm-hmm. But like, that's what I like about this is like, I can present this. The other thing is there's a ton, and this I can't wait for it to show up. I don't know when it's going to show up, but you sent me a link to the World of Warcraft: The War Within expansion collector's edition. Which comes with an amazing statue. Looks so cool. But there's a ton of other like World of Warcraft stuff out there, like really cool, like Lich King stuff and all of that. But I didn't play any of it. I have no idea. Like, I mean, I know who those characters are, right? I played a little bit of, like, I know enough to like be kind of, but I don't have a connection with World of Warcraft during those eras. So I'm not going to buy those and present those. So I like having Like, not only do I like having like something to present, but I like that it's very, very personal to me.
Yeah, that's really cool. I am on the fence on that collector's edition. Actually, I'm like very on the fence about whether or not I personally want to get it, because I don't have as extensive of a collection of statues and game things as you do. But I like the idea of, this is a thing I play, this is a thing I enjoy. I want to kind of have a physical manifestation of that. I'm just worried about the like, I don't know if I have enough space to store. I mean, one thing I can do, but if it turns into more than one thing, then it becomes a challenge.
Yeah, I've had to start demoting some stuff. So
you could put it on like a seasonal rotation.
I could, because I only play Guild Wars certain times of the year, and
there we go.
I would essentially have to rotate between the World of Warcraft and Guild Wars 2 stuff, right?
I guess, yeah.
The other thing that I have not got into yet, but I'm really nervous, is there are a lot of statues for Warframe, but I don't like any of the ones that they've done yet. So when they actually finally do one that I like, that's gonna be a problem.
Aha! I have a original, never removed from box action figure of Arthas from the Frozen Throne of Warcraft. From when Warcraft 3's expansion came out. It was a bonus thing that you got at Best Buy if you pre-ordered the physical game in the physical box.
Oh my God.
And I still have the action figure.
Is it worth anything?
I doubt it. I don't know. Maybe. But I still have it, and it's in the box.
Never opened?
Never. I'm pretty sure it's never opened. I don't even think it's torn on the corner.
You should get it graded, man. You should send it off to get graded.
It's not that nice of a thing. I mean, maybe, but...
Yeah, I don't know. You can look it up. It might be worth something. You never know.
I'll take a look, because I'm not that attached to it, but it's a thing I got when I was in middle school.
I opened all of like a lot of like when I got the Guild Wars 2 collector's edition, I was like, oh man, should I open this? Like, it's a collector's edition. Should I open this and take the statue out and like, or should I just leave it in there? Because a lot of times I will save the boxes of stuff like that, and I've just gotten to the point now where I was like, I appreciate it so much more open and on the shelf that I've just made the decision that I've got to open this stuff. I got to put it out. Like, I really like being on the shelf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Real-time follow-up. The thing I have is worth $60. So
that's not the worst.
Maybe I'll just keep letting it appreciate.
Yeah. Keep it forever.